Thatcher has to go and go make a call.
Okay. Yeah, but if it works, we can get it,
Welcome to the April 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting, 6:30 City Council Chamber. We'll start with the prayer. Dear God, today's session opens. We pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Would you salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Janess? Councilor Mercia?
Here.
Councilor Nunn?
Here.
Councilor Robinson?
Here.
Mayor Rourke?
Here.
Councilor Scott?
Here.
Councilor Yem?
Here.
Councilor Belanger?
Here.
Councilor Chow?
Here.
Councilor Dakota?
Here.
Councilor Getchia?
Here. Council Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in Docking Chamber for Jorge Mario Bergoglio, better known as Pope Francis. Pope Francis was born in 1936 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, to his father Mario and his mother Regina. He was the oldest of their 5 children. The family spoke Spanish. At school, Jorge excelled in chemistry. At age 17, he attended Mass in his local church and was moved by the sermon of a visiting priest, so much so that he sought him out. In the course of their exchange, he recalled later, he discovered his religious vocation. When Jorge was 21, he became seriously ill with pneumonia, and doctors feared for his life. 3 cysts were found on his right lung, and part of his lung was removed in a brutal operation. This brush with death strengthened his determination to become a priest, and he became a Jesuit. He went into the Jesuit seminary soon after. He was ordained in December of 1969 after 12 years of training. By that stage, Bergoglio was 33 and had gained a philosophy degree at the Catholic University of Buenos Aires. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was elected Pope in March of 2013 at 76 years old. He was the first Latin American pontiff who ministered with a charming, humble style. Pope Francis lived in the Vatican Hotel instead of the Apostolic Palace. He wore his old orthopedic shoes and not the red loafers of the papacy, and rode in compact cars. He replied when asked about gay priests and replied, "Who am I to judge?" He let women vote alongside bishops in Vatican meetings. His comment, "Being homosexual is not a crime," urging an end to civil laws that criminalized it. Francis formally apologized to indigenous people for the crimes of the church from colonial times, caressing the deformed head of a man in St. Peter's Square, kissing the tattoo of a Holocaust survivor. Jorge Mario Bergoglio, Pope Francis, died at age 88. He was a man of the people. He will be truly missed. He was predeceased by his 2 brothers and a sister, survived by a sister, Maria Elena. I'd also like to offer a moment of silence in Docking Chamber for all those who passed away since our last City Council meeting. May they rest in peace, and God rest their soul. Thank you. Amen.
Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and Docking Chambers for William Joseph Tangai. William Joseph Tangai, age 78, a longtime resident of Lowell, passed away peacefully on Tuesday, April 8, 2025, after a period of declining health. He was a beloved husband of Mary Economos Tangay, with whom he enjoyed 50 years of marriage. He was born in Lowell on June 23, 1946, and was the son of late Joseph William Tangay and Cecilia Blanche Parini Tangay Turgeon. Billy entered the Marine Corps in 1965, rose to the rank of corporal, and served in the military police before giving the wrong person a speeding ticket and being sent to Vietnam to serve out his 9 months enlistment. Given the opportunity to escape combat, Williams decided to go since he hadn't been out of the country before. His overseas experience exposed him to an Agent Orange, led to his later struggle with heart disease and neuropathy. Bill began his career on the Lowell Police Department during the blizzard of 1978. He spent his career as a patrolman and spent a number of years working in the detail office. His last post was in the Lowell Housing Division, where he was part of the bicycle patrol before retiring in 2001. After retirement, he spent a numerous of years working in armed security for Internal Revenue Service in Andover campus. Bill was a member of many different organizations, including the VFW Post 662, where he served in the Honor Guard, the Military Order of Devil Dogs, DAV Chapter 47, Marine Corps League, and Road Runners Car Club. He had a unique ability to recall events by the car he was driving and the meals that he enjoyed at the place he visited, which is always including a Coca-Cola classic. He cherished spending time with his wife, daughters, and dog Freebie and Oscar. In addition to his loving wife, William is survived by his 2 daughters, whom he often referred to as Yvette and Yvonne, Chris Tangay and partner Rich Green, Jennifer Nicholson, and husband Adam, all of Lowell, sisters Lillian Mello and Susan Fortier and her husband Robert of Lowell, brothers-in-law George Economus and his husband John Thompson of Chelmsford, and James Economos and his wife Tia of Dracut, as well as many nieces and nephews and friends. He also had 2 grand dogs, Gus and Teddy. He was preceded by his sister Claire Lanoux and her husband Ernest. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam Clerk, please docket the chamber. May they rest in peace. Section 2, Mayor's Business 2.1, Communications Remote Zoom Participation. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor New, seconded by Councilor Robinson. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 2.2, information.
Mr. Mayor, can we take suspend the rules and take 5.1 out of order, please?
Sure, we just have to get to the city clerk's
Okay.
part of it, section
Thank you.
3. You get 2 and 3 first, then go right to it. 2.2, informational, Chris Porter, Porter Productions LLC regarding Town and Country Festival. Mr. Porter.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for giving me some time. I'm Chris Porter. I have a home at 215 Hovey Street. And this is my 6th time in front of you all to tell you about the Town and the City Festival. This is our 6th edition. We're going to be presenting this week. It goes from Thursday, April 24th through Saturday, the 26th. Over 60 performances in a dozen venues throughout downtown Lowell area. We have a kickoff concert at Taffeta Music Hall on Thursday. It's first year we're doing something on a Thursday. We're using some new venues, Kodo and Last Stop, who are new, but also a lot of longtime participants like Warp and Web, Thirsty First, Old Court, Christchurch United, among others. Day passes are encouraged, so you can check out all the different performances, and although there are individual tickets available for all the shows, and there are even some free programming for people too. This is for all ages. Some of the venues are for 21 plus, but we also have some all ages opportunities as well. We have internationally known performers like Couch, Ezra Furman, Lady Lamb, who are Loudon Wainwright III, who are performing, but also we want to fly the local flag, so to speak, and give a lot of opportunity to Lowell area bands, which we do each year. And we hope you all can take some time and to take in some of the performances this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. For more information, you can go to the townandthecityfestival.com, find tickets there, the whole schedule, and all kinds of information. And I know our city manager is going to be around, and many of you others. I hope you can take it in. So thanks so much for your time and your support.
Mr. Porter, thank you very much. You're doing this for a long time. Thank you. 2.3, vote city manager employment agreement. Waive the first reading. And a vote to...
Mr. Mayor, can we suspend the rules and take 5.1 out of order?
It's okay with Madam Clerk, it's okay with me. Motion to take 5.1 out of order, seconded by Councilor Dakota. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.1. Councilor Gitche requests city manager send a letter to our state delegation and the Speaker of the House in opposition of House Bill 2347 relative to zoning ordinances and taxation of land owned by religious sects and denominations for multi-family housing.
Second the motion.
Seconded by Councilor Robinson. Madam Clerk.
Ryan Oates,
Good evening. I'm clearly not Ryan Oates. I just got a message from Ryan Oates that he's having technical difficulties with the Zoom. So he sent me his speech and asked me if I could possibly read it for him, if that's acceptable.
Motion by Councilor Gitche, second by Councilor Mercia. All in
Thank
favor say
you.
aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Okay. My name is Chris Afferman, for the record. I live at 200 Market Street. I'm now being Ryan Oates. So don't hold anything against me what I'm saying, because I'm not saying it. Ryan Oates is saying it. So he says, my name is Ryan Oates. I live at 33 East Meadow Lane, Lowell, Mass. 01854. I would like to speak out against motion 5.1. One of the concerns I often hear on our city council is that the burden of providing affordable housing and supporting the unhoused falls disproportionately on Lowell. That when it comes to other towns and cities in the region, we're carrying a lot of the weight. And I think that's right. Lowell has followed the MBTA guidelines for zoning, but there are other towns that have not. Lowell has a significant amount of multifamily zoning, while a lot of suburbs and towns do not. I think we all agree that Lowell is doing more than other municipalities when it comes to affordable housing. But unfortunately, there is still a housing affordability crisis in the state. And so we need to get the rest of the state to do their part. What we need to do is pass legislation at the state level that promotes affordable housing in the entire state. That work should be done by everyone, not just Lowell. That's exactly what this bill does. This bill allows religious institutions all across the state to build affordable housing on their own property. It would expand the affordable housing supply all over Massachusetts so that Lowell doesn't have to do it all. A version of this bill has already passed in California, and it is working. Last month, in March of 2025, the neighborhood Congregational Church in Laguna Beach applied for a permit to build 44 affordable housing units on their land. The Archdiocese of Los Angeles has proposed a building with 74 affordable housing units for young people transitioning out of foster care. This policy alone will not solve the housing crisis. But if religious groups want to help tackle the housing crisis, I think we should let them help. I understand the bill is early in its development. I know some people have concerns with the current language. My suggestion is that instead of writing a letter just flat out opposing this policy, we request that our delegation collaborate with the Council to improve it. Thank you.
Robert Hunt.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Manager, and staff. I've come tonight to support this motion by Councilor Gitchier. I agree and echo everything that will be said by my colleague, Mr. Nichols, who's going to speak on that specifically. What I came tonight to talk about was how and where this legislation really comes from. And this comes from Abundant Housing of Massachusetts. This is a California-based nonprofit that has very, very deep pockets. We're a driving force for the ADU legislation, along with our governor and lieutenant governor. They are actively currently promoting the one staircase design in a 3 to 6 story walk-up. They want to eliminate single-family zoning and other building and safety codes at the state level, because that's the easiest for them to do. On a recent webinar that I attended, a Cheryl Daniel, a senior manager at Abundant Housing Massachusetts, talked about the word rest, and I didn't really understand it. But she said it's not laziness, but it's a radical act. And she went on to say that rest is a form of resistance because it pushes back and disrupts the white supremacy and capitalism and those that live in single-family neighborhoods. This is a very dangerous organization, and they are prominent people on the board and members, and also with Tara Hong and Andy Vargas. And that's all. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mitchell Paulin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Mitchell Paulin. I live at 77 Mount Washington Street. I'm speaking today to ask you not to support this motion. Massachusetts, like some other states, is facing a shortage of housing, and so-called yes and backyard proposals here and other states like California and Arizona are conservative efforts to work with religious institutions to help address this problem. One of the questions this council has asked before is what is being done by other municipalities to help tackle housing issues which do roll downhill to Lowell. This is a step towards that because these problems require state solutions, and this is the beginning of one. I say beginning because we all know how fast things can move on Beacon Hill, or rather not, as bills often take months or longer getting worked over in committee. This is one of over 4,000 at the very beginning of consideration, so it's curious to single it out for opposition when there are other bills at the state and federal level that pose other urgent threats to the livelihoods and rights of Lowellians. I ask you to not support this and instead to collaborate with our state delegation on making this a bill that, if passed, can work to help tackle the housing problems Lowell faces. Thank you.
Joseph Boyle.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, councilors. I'm speaking out tonight in opposition to this motion. The city of Lowell and eastern Massachusetts as a whole are suffering from a housing crisis, a housing shortage, which has been imposed on us by exclusionary zoning in the suburbs, zoning forbidding the development of multifamily housing, rental housing in most of the communities in this state in order to prevent us from moving in with them. In order to be exclusionary, I feel like people from Lowell probably do and probably should understand how this works. This bill is an attempt to crack that. This bill is an attempt to get the multifamily housing, the rental housing that we so desperately need built in the suburbs that have been so determined to resist it. As a previous speaker said, we know that the housing crisis rolls downhill towards Lowell. There's a fight right now. Are we in Massachusetts going to build the housing units we need, the multifamily housing units we need in the suburban communities that have been so determined not to accept them? Or are they going to continue to prevent any multifamily housing from being built? This is one very small crack to put into that wall of exclusionism. Now, whether you support this particular bill to do that or not, I strongly urge the Lowell City Council not to send any letters to any legislative bodies which help to derail efforts to produce rental housing in the suburbs and address the severe housing shortage which is affecting so many people here in this community. Thank you.
Lynn Daly.
Good evening. Lynn Daly, 35 Windward Road, Lowell, Mass. I am speaking in support of Motion 5.1. Section 3AA of House Bill Number 2347, an act to promote yes in God's backyard, states, no zoning ordinance or bylaw shall prohibit, unreasonably restrict, or require a special permit or other discretionary zoning approval for the use of land owned by a religious sect or denomination for multifamily housing. Where is the data? Where is the listing of all the land in the city of Lowell owned by religious sects or denominations? Such a listing would include location, property owner, as well as lot size at the very least. After visiting the Middlesex North Registry of Deeds and various departments at Lowell City Hall today, I was unable to find such a listing. If this data was not considered by the legislators petitioning for the adoption of House Bill 2347, how do the legislators / authors of the bill know the impacts of their mandate on the residents of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts? They don't. Does this data exist for the other legislators that are petitioning for the adoption of this bill? These legislators represent Haverhill, Malden, Dorchester, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Roslindale, Jamaica Plain, and Somerville. This bill is a one-size-fits-all solution and would override the zoning process within the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It does not address the price of the housing that would be created. It does not prohibit the use of the created housing as short-term rentals. As far as I know, residents of the city of Lowell have not been included as stakeholders in the formulation of this bill. I find it very frustrating that the supporters of this bill are making decisions and putting forward a mandate that puts established neighborhoods at risk without analyzing any data. I, for one, never make a decision without the data to responsibly back up my decision. I hope the City Council will vote to send a letter to the delegation and Speaker of the House in opposition of Bill number 2347. Thank you.
William Nichols.
Good evening, Mr. Manager, Mr. Mayor, and City Councilors. I come here tonight to speak in favor of Councilor Gitchier's motion. I am also a very active, longtime member of the Highlands Neighborhood Group. I introduced this bill at our meeting last week, and we are going to have further discussion on it at our May 12th meeting. And this bill came to my attention by reading State Rep. Tara Hong's newsletter. And the title of the bill is what hit me. I think it was previously mentioned by a speaker, an act to promote yes in God's backyard. That's what got me to read the bill in depth. It's only 2 pages long, the bill. But I spoke to State Rep. Hong about this prior to the Highlands Neighborhood Group meeting, and we promised to get together and talk about it further. But I'm coming tonight because I am in opposition to this bill as written. And I am in favor of Councilor Gitchia's motion to bring this forward from the city's perspective. I have a lot of issues with it. Number one, why should a religious sect or organization or denomination be granted such privilege as a right to go around existing zoning laws? There are other 501c organizations that could be as beneficial other than a religious sect or an organization. There are many of them around. The bill also has a listing that says there will be a 3-year rule involved that such religious organization or sect must be in existence for at least 3 years before they could file for such a right to go around zoning rules and such and build multifamily housing units. To me, this could possibly incentivize such religious organizations and sects to, hey, 3-year rule, let's buy up some property, let's kind of look down the road to take advantage of this. I think it's another attempt by the state to take over local zoning regulations. I was an opponent of the ADU that came up a couple of years ago. I applaud the city council that kind of got together on that and came up with a city-wide, rule or regulation to incorporate ADUs, but it was overridden by the state. And so now I kind of see this particular bill as being ADU on steroids. It has the potential to really cause severe harm in neighborhoods. The city of Lowell does not need any further properties taken off its tax rolls. We have enough of properties that we're not collecting taxes on. What happened to separation of church and state? I'll go back to this religious sect and organizations. They poorly define what they are. Previous speaker mentioned of her attempts to try to get a listing. I asked Councilor Gitchia and Councilor Dakota if they could possibly get a list of how many possible churches and organizations could be impacted in the city of Lowell. I ran a quick Google search and found that there were 80 Christian churches listed in the city of Lowell. That does not count non-Christian, and I'm willing to bet there's another 20 of those. The bill states that there could be 30 to 50 units on a 1-acre lot developed. To me, this is really outrageous. I look at my own particular church, St. Margaret's on Stevens Street in Lowell. And if any of the city councilors are familiar with that property, there's a vacant lot that used to be their convent. They have a parking lot. They have a clubhouse. They have a rectory. If the church were to, quote, go out of business or be consolidated with some other churches, these properties could all be possible pieces of land that could be used and developed. I think that's very scary, is that piece of land on Stevens Street could have 30 multiple housing units developed on it. Another part of the bill, parking spaces. We've been through this before with ADUs. Right now it says that if one of these churches develop multifamily housing within the half-mile rule of a MBTA or bus depot, that there would be no parking spaces required at all. If they're outside the 1/2 limit, then there would be at least only one parking space per unit. That's something that really bothers me as well. And finally, when I was thinking about it further, the old adage of follow the money, always look at the money issue. What happens if this bill does go into effect and a religious organization or sect puts up some of these units? Who's going to benefit from the rental of these units and or possibly even turning into condos? You would think it would be the religious organization that would get all that revenue. And the idea that the city of Lowell could possibly grant them tax-exempt status to build these multifamily housing units on these properties is really a scary thing to me. And finally, with that, what happens if these organizations sell the property? What happens then? Where does the money go? Does it become an individual property owner or a landlord that takes over and takes the revenue? I think the bill has an awful lot of issues that need to be discussed further, and I am opposed to it, and I would hope the city of Lowell would be opposed to it because of the implications it can have on the city. Thank you.
Councilor Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor O'Rourke. You hear this word collaboration, but there would be no collaboration without this motion. The state reps did not go to the manager. They did not go to DPD. They did not go to any of us until after the motion was filed. So there is no collaboration like people want to say. This is hierarchy pushing down. And that's the problem with it. And then when you look at the bill, nowhere in it does it say anything about suburban areas. It actually includes everybody. So if they wanted suburban areas, why didn't they just say that in the bill, in areas that are outside cities? So when you start looking at some of this, I'm asking my colleagues to oppose this bill, Bill 2347. Representative Hung co-sponsored it along with Representative Vanna Howard, and they didn't once come to anybody in the city who has experience at this stuff and can tell you where the outlines are. We have a Move Lowell Forward master plan. We didn't hear anything about that. The proposed bill is yet another way for the state to take over local building codes. Never once did Rep. Hung speak to Manager Golden. Did he, Manager Golden? Prior to you and I speaking? No. I just want to make that clear to people. They never spoke to DPD. They never spoke to any of the neighborhood groups. I was at the meeting when it came up. Never spoke to the administration or the city council. Representative Hung, Representative Vargas have no idea how many religious sects or denominations are even in Lowell. The manager hasn't responded to an email I sent him that we're waiting for that answer, how many are even here. I don't know that any of us know that right now unless we do a tax search and then go to see who's getting that, and that would have to go to the auditor, which I'll probably have to ask you for some information to see how many are and where they are. I asked the city manager if he had a list, and he didn't give it. The state itself have many buildings throughout our city that are left in disrepair and very easily could be turned into housing if they chose so. Why not spend their money and push for the state to take care of their dilapidated buildings that they have in our city right now? Why isn't the rep fighting and pushing for that? Let's look at where some of the areas are that have them. Lowell Mission Church, the corner of Pentucket and Andover Street. South Lowell, St. Mary's Church, right across from Knickerbocker. The Highlands, Temple Emmanuel. The Lower Highlands, Community Christian Academy. Pawtucketville, Merrimack Valley Christian Day School. Centerville United Methodist Church on the corner of Hildreth and Bridge Street. Lower Highlands, you got Chelmsford Street Baptist Church on the corner of Chelmsford Street and Plain Street. You got downtown, 13 Hurd Street, 313 Central Street, 216 Central Street. You got the Acre, 62 Lion Street, 9 West Adams Street. And there are more than 80, as the speaker had said, that are just in the Catholic denomination. Not once has this idea been brought to us. This is a demand not working together. It's irresponsible governing, starting from the state, coming down to us. And the only reason why it's here tonight is because this motion got put on, or they would not be looking to have any kind of collaboration or back and forth with us. And yes, there's a housing crisis. We all understand that, as both of the speakers outlined that are not in favor of this. But why not bring responsible legislation across the board for all of us to live with? And if it's suburban areas that you want to target, then target them in your legislation. Thank you.
Councilor Robertson?
Thank you. Again, I think my colleague and the speakers touched on many points. Something that stands out to me with all of this process that was pushed forward with is it seems like these by right blanket bills or drafts get thrown at the wall, see what sticks, and then ultimately, if it passes on a state level, local communities are left picking up the pieces and dealing with the negative consequences and impacts. we heard how this bill is an attempt to help or force suburbs to create housing because, yes, Lowell is doing our part, yes. So if the speakers are acknowledging that Lowell is doing our part in working tirelessly to create all kinds of housing, then why is there pushback of us exercising the baked-in option of the local option and saying we want no part of this? We're not in favor of this. So if it is in fact intended for the suburbs and other communities, I don't see why we have opposition to us speaking out. I don't see the maker of the bills here trying to clarify. I see advocates trying to justify a bill like this, but if this was a bill that I felt strongly about, that I co-authored or co-sponsored, I'd be the first one speaking at the podium to try to justify and explain my stance on that. Yes, we need housing, but we need the right type of developments, and I do think the key to effective zoning in following best practice zoning measures is going to ensure that our community moves in the right direction. Not just building because it's out of desperation, but I think this takes a lot of thought. And anytime I see a blanket piece of legislature come across like this, there's no way that I could support this. I could see the potential impacts in an area such as Centerville that I represent. To even consider looking for a postage stamp that you could potentially squeeze 30 units per acre into is unheard of. I mean, we're bursting at the seams as is, and so, I mean, maybe vertical construction is a better advocacy move, but right now, there's no way, and I would hope that we can all support this and send notice. Thank you.
To that point, Councilor, just a clarification for everybody to know, Representative Howard did reach out to me before the meeting today, the mayor's office, and she had requested a subcommittee for housing so she and the rest of the delegation could come to explain it. I said I would bring that forward, and that was it. So I'll wait for all the rest of the council to speak first. Councilor Scott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd also just like to express my support of the motion. I feel instead of fixing the suburban zoning issues that were brought up, the 2-acre lots, and other issues like our empty state buildings here in the city, using those for housing, this bill instead tries to give special treatment to some groups. I think it blurs the lines between religious institutions and the city authority, and I don't feel that religion should be in our zoning laws, so I definitely oppose it. I also worry that it opens up a lot of loopholes on the definition of a religious sect or a religious group. I've spoke to a few attorney friends of mine that have said that that is something that could be manipulated, they feared. So I think it is an issue, and I do not support it. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Mr. Nichols pointed out, I have some concerns with the proposed legislation as written. While it's true that we need housing, we should be focused on housing that grows our tax base, not shrink it. My other concern is the language is vague in that any so-called religious sect, whether incorporated or unincorporated, may take advantage of this. With this vague language, there is a concern for potential abuse. What is to stop me from declaring my house a religious sect and all I have to do is post a religious message online once a day? I can then build 4 units in my backyard and not pay any taxes? If these religious sects start populating the community, there is a concern for density of neighborhoods that we discussed during the ADU hearings with little or no oversight from local boards. Finally, how are these properties treated by law? Are they charities subject to charitable immunity? Based on these concerns, I am not in favor of this legislation. Thank you.
Councilor Chow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I thank Mr. Nichols and all the speakers who spoke here tonight. Like my councilor colleagues spoke before, I share many of the same concerns. And as the public know, the city, the council, we are very concerned with affordable housing development. We have done more, as all the speakers mentioned, than many of the nearby towns and cities for our residents for affordable housing development. While the bill at the state house level have good intentions, I just don't know how many religious institutions can really afford to have the resource to do this. And the stories I've heard, I reached out to a few people, the religious institution, one church in particular, that try to do commercial building and then, to help support the church, collect rents and so forth. Afterward, that they no longer function as a religious development program. And if you do Google search about the Yes in God's Backyard, you will see that there's some religious institutions out there that instead of building one big church building, they build 300 units. And, sooner or later, that will not be operated as a religious institution any longer. And Lowell is a very, very density already, and, to have 30 to 50 units in 1 acre, I think that's just too much for our city to handle. Look at all the other nonprofit organizations, the 501c organizations that have done a wonderful job developing affordable housing, but they come before the council, they come before the board, and most of the times, I don't remember a time that we denied their requests, but they go through the proper channel, they get the permits and so forth to get the development for our city. So really, just to have to single out one particular organizations to be able to do this type of development without the oversight, without the authority, without local knowledge, I don't think that is a good precedent for us. I will support the motion on the floor. Thank you.
Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like my colleagues, I have huge concerns with this Bill 2347. Yes, in God's backyard. It may have a catchy little phrase to it, but what I foresee here is many unintended consequences, like we're seeing now with the MBTA Communities Act. That was basically forced down communities' throat, and you were going to lose state funding if you didn't comply. And Lowell's in no position to do that. The sponsors of this bill, it would have been nice, a little outreach to the administration and this body would have been a nice courtesy. And I'd like to see those efforts in conjunction with the administration in urban renewal areas where there is potential for housing growth and increasing the tax base. But I see this bill being extremely detrimental to our single-family neighborhoods, which largely my district is composed of, and I fully intend on protecting here tonight. But not only that, in multifamily districts where this could be largely be very hurtful as well. So I intend on supporting the motion. This bill, I don't like it. I don't like it a bit. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I could go on and on this evening, but I won't, because I think that Mr. Nichols and Mrs. Daly did a superb job in stating exactly what I feel. I do not support this bill, but I do support Councilor Gitchia's motion. And I do love God, but I don't want another house in my backyard. And I will say that I'm a little taken aback by the fact that, as Mr. Nichols said, we as a council did not support ADUs, but the state decided that, well, we're going to support it anyway. Just like the MBTA zone. We voted for that only because we more or less had to. The state said, you have no choice. Why did we even vote on it if we didn't even have a choice? So look what it's doing to the corner of the connector there on Gorham Street. I mean, why does it even come before us if we have no say? It's like holding a gun to our head and saying, do it. And I'm also not in favor of sending this to a neighborhood subcommittee either. I intend to vote yes in support of Councilor Gitchia's motion. Thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This city and this council, this administration, not just talking about housing production, housing shortage. This administration and cities and council have put a lot of resource into that with our partner, CTI, all HA, CBA, just to name a few. This is some of the things that we have done as a city. We've done, and we'll continue to do that because we still have issue with housing. We're talking about, in the past, to invite the delegation to come and talk to us, whether about this housing bill or any other issue. We also talk about, we didn't hear from them on this bill. I want so much that we grant them an opportunity and asking the managers to seriously invite them to come to the city to explain. This bill, as it's written, there's a lot of flaw. Currently, there's some concern in the bill. Yes, they have a good intention, but it's still flawed. As the managers had experience in that area, being a former dean of the delegation, bill file, there's dozen and dozen of amendment, and even with that dozen and dozen of amendment didn't get passed. This may be one of those bills. I wanted to, like everyone else, to say, let's just send a letter. Let's just send a letter to the delegation and send a letter to the Speaker of the House. I want to give the delegation an opportunity, as the mayor stated, that all those rather late calling your office, Mr. Mayor, and said that, they're willing to come, if asked, to the housing subcommittee or any subcommittee to explain, because we need to have good relationship with all our delegation, because we work together. We work together for our residents, for our voters in the city of Lowell. None of us is perfect. None of us. And this bill, as it's written, has a lot of amendment to go about. Therefore, I want to ask that we grant them that opportunity, because this bill is not going to pass tomorrow or next month or month after. There's an opportunity for us, give them the opportunity to explain to us what you're thinking. Why it's written this form? Can we amend it? Can we explain what people talk about, the lack of all the hidden agendas and whatnot, if there is any? I want to still have that open dialogue with the delegation. I may not support the bill as written, but I want to grant them an opportunity, second chance. We all deserve that second chance in life. It may not be in life. In this case. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to all the speakers who support the motion or not support the motion. We do need that. Housing is important and is needed throughout Massachusetts, Lowell particularly. We talked about the Lowell need about 3,000 housing unit in the next by 2040s. On one hand, I think it's okay to send a letter from the council, this council, expressing concern that faith-based organization will have opportunity to build more affordable housing. But on the other hand, the question I have would be, will it make any difference? But for me, more housing is needed, and different organizations, nonprofit organizations, and for-profits building affordable housing will have opportunity. And this bill allow a faith-based organization, instead of declining members and close down the building. The city of Lowell has knocked down a few churches, Catholic churches, that was closed due to the fact that it's non-performing, not active anymore. So instead of demolish those buildings, imagine that the churches will create an arm to allow the church to build affordable housing, and this bill set parameters how many unit affordable housing that are allowed to be built. Also, the other option is that you have to have members of the church, 2 housing unit or 5% of the total multi-family housing unit developed living in the unit as well. So this is allowing not just for profit, non-profit, but allowing the religious-based organization to make use of the properties that they may no longer need for worshiping, to turn into affordable housing and provide shelter and stability for all. So with that said, I will agree to support the motion by Councillor Gachir to send a letter to our state delegation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So I'll just, because I told this representative I would do it, to make a motion to send it to a housing subcommittee for discussion with the state delegation. Not hearing a second? Second. Oh, second by Council Newman. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councillor Janess?
It's just to send it to a housing subcommittee.
Okay, no. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not Wayne.
Councillor Mercia?
No.
Councillor Nunn?
Yes. Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
No.
Mayor Rourke?
No.
Councillor Scott?
No.
Councillor Yam?
Yes.
Councillor Belanger?
No.
Councillor Chow?
No.
Councillor Dakota?
No.
Councillor Getchia?
No.
The original motion, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councillor Janess? Councillor Mercia?
Yes.
Councillor Nunn?
Abstain.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councillor Scott?
Yes.
Councillor Yem?
No.
Councillor Belanger?
Yes.
Councillor Chow?
Yes.
Councillor Dakota?
Yes.
Councillor Getchia?
Yes.
General public hearings being well past 7 o'clock. 4.1, in order to abandon a portion of Delaware Avenue. This is continued from the April 8th, 2025 public hearing, to which we already had opposition and those in favor. I believe there was a question that was asked. Councilor Gitche, wasn't it yours? Ask it again.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, it was about the building permit for the piece that was added to the property. Did they have one or not?
Mr. Machado?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. They pulled all the necessary permits for the work that was done over there.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councillor Janess? Councillor Mercia?
Yes.
Councillor Nunn?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councillor Scott?
Yes.
Councillor Yem?
Yes.
Councillor Belanger?
Yes.
Councillor Chow?
Yes.
Councillor Dakota?
Yes.
Councillor Getchia?
Yes.
Turning to section 2, Mayor's Business, 2.3, vote city manager employment agreement. Waive the full reading and second reading by title. Motion to adopt by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Scott. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councillor Janess? Councillor Mercia?
Yes.
Councillor Nunn?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
No.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Councillor Scott?
Yes.
Councillor Yem?
Yes.
Councillor Belanger?
Yes.
Councillor Chow?
Yes.
Councillor Dakota?
Yes.
Councillor Getchia?
No.
2.4.
Mr. Mayor, could I explain the reason why I took the position?
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I believe you have been more than fair on the compensation end. You haven't received any more than the clerk or auditor over the same period of time. Over the last 3 years, I believe it has been the mission of your administration to bring professional government. We compare salaries to other governments that evaluate professionally. Back on January 26, 2023, after reviewing the evaluation tool used for the city manager, city auditor, and city clerk, the Auditor Clerk Oversight Subcommittee met to look at the packet, the tool that was being used. It was stated then we had a signed contract, and when it is up, we can reevaluate the employee performance goals and objectives. That was by then Councilor Rourke, where he said he would be okay with the evaluation being more formal. I don't see any changes to the performance evaluation involved in this contract. We just hired a contractor to help with the evaluation tool. Why, if we are not including it in the contract, as Councilor Rourke stated, it's not fair to not have an agreement on the goals, objectives, and tools before the contract is signed, and if so, one can't be added without options, more negotiations, without opening more negotiations.
I actually believe what I said at a subcommittee meeting was I evaluate the manager every Tuesday night.
You said you evaluate the clerk every Tuesday night. If you're going to use your words, use those correct. As I have stated from the beginning, this seems more like a demand by some than a contract negotiations. Not one change either way besides time frame is outlined in the proposed contract, where we could highlight performance better, goals better, objectives better. It's not as simple as Mayor has stated when you want professional government. We're looking for professional tools, and we asked that. That's why I asked to go in executive session and speak about this, so that we could actually highlight what was proposed to us at a personnel subcommittee by the contract professional that was hired by the city. They were saying, okay, here are the guidelines for these. We should try to follow these. We'll get back to the council. We'll sit with the council. We'll get professional outlined goals and objectives. And that's the reason why I voted no. And again, I didn't want to open up this contract for another year so that we could have real talk about evaluations. When you look at the evaluation tool of the city manager, the city clerk, and the city auditor, you look, it just says satisfactory, unsatisfactory, good, and excellent. It says work to full potential. I don't even know what that means. There's no goal really outlined. Works to full potential. What does that mean? Quality of work. I don't know. Somebody needs to outline and tell me that. And we had these discussions. If we're going to build a professional and pay professional wages, we should follow the evaluation tools of professional places. If you look around, every city and town has a professional outline. That's all it was, Mr. Manager. This has nothing to do with your performance. I can't evaluate your performance. I write that every single time. And on that year, in January 2023, was the first evaluation that I saw as a city councilor that we had to do. And I said the same thing then, that these are not professional. These are like, okay, my friends here, one even wrote before, only God gets a 10. I mean, that's not professional evaluation from a council. And that should have been included, as the mayor outlined during that meeting and said, we can't change the contract. And you're not wrong, Mr. Mayor. You're right. You can't change the contract. We had the opportunity this time to negotiate real performance and objective performance. And that's all I'm saying. That's the reason why I voted no on that. Thank you.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to respond to that, because we did have the conversation during the Personnel Subcommittee about this, that this contract does not limit us from making performance goals. We have a meeting set up in May to meet with the Collins Institute to begin that work. The long overdue, we all agree, long overdue, but that does not change. This says that we basically still set the evaluation goals, and it doesn't define them in here. So there's no reason we can't do both simultaneously. I don't know if the solicitor can weigh in at all. I mean, this does not limit us from still assigning performance goals to the manager, correct?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I would agree with that, Councilor Scott. I see nothing in the contract as it currently stands that would in any way restrict using updated evaluation tools. It's very general in here, and there's nothing in the contract that would in any way restrict your ability to do that. As you said, council's already looking towards those new methods that you can use, and the way I read the contract, there's nothing that would stop you from doing so.
Okay, thank you.
We already voted on this.
Mr. Mayor, one just to rebut to what was just said. that would have to be negotiated back and forth with the manager on those performances. You just can't pick performance outlines and have it there without a negotiation back and forth on what they are with the manager. That was stated from the past solicitor, and during the meeting we had when I was chairman of the audit clerk subcommittee, and we were told any kind of change to what the current one is would have to be negotiated back and forth and agreed upon on the goals and objectives and performance outline.
2.4, vote to reappoint Kelly Oakes to the position of city auditor in the city of Lowell. A motion to adopt by Councilor Chow, seconded by Councilor Dakota. Any comments?
I have comments.
Councilor Gitcher.
Thank you, Mayor Rook. You know, again, these conversations I asked to have not in the public. I think the auditor is a phenomenal employee, but just back in July, we gave a 6.5 increase to that position. And then now we're looking for a 28.2% since September. That's not fair. If that was negotiated back then, it would be fair. Why should the city taxpayers give out that kind of money, then give a retroactive back to September of 28.2% more, back to September?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Just a point of clarification, there'll be no retro pay, and there'll be no COLA this July 1st of 2025.
Is there a change to that contract? Because the contract as written says it in there.
Mr. Solicitor.
So what you're voting on, it says it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so to make those changes, if it were the will of the body, they would just have to vote on the contract as amended with those changes that the manager just mentioned.
Wouldn't that have to be advertised so people would have the right to speak, register to speak?
Thank you. So again, the contract was put on the agenda and it was put out for anyone who wanted to come and speak on it. A change as inconsequential as that, someone could be here tonight to speak on it. I don't see any reason why that would have to get re-advertised or reposted at this point.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. It's my understanding is that the approval tonight will be conditions that Ms. O's forgo the 3% increase in July 1st. Is that correct? All right. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. So I keep seeing in these contracts, the auditor shall be entitled to a COLA increase in the same manner consistent with other city department heads. Is there a standard that we're utilizing through you to the city manager for a COLA for department heads?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the council, the COLA is what the union group receives as well.
So ordinance employees' COLA is identical to what unionized employees receive for percentage?
The ordinance employees get the same COLA, cost of living adjustment, as the unionized employees do.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Noon.
Mr. Mayor, one other question, Mr. Mayor. Should we vote on with conditions tonight, this contract will go, 3-year contract will go effective right tonight, right?
Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so the vote would be for, the vote tonight, and then it becomes effective upon execution. So that would be this vote. Then once the auditor and the council is able to sign it, it becomes effective right away with no retro pay, and with the COLA going to 2026.
Right.
And these are, I can tweak the contract to put those amendments in it, memorialize it for everyone to sign off on the final product.
Mr. Mayor, I got to say, this salary of the auditors is parallel to what Cambridge, Waltham, and we want to keep her here. So if she's phenomenal employee, then with the with the condition, we should approve it tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Gitcher.
Mr. Mayor, through you to Manager Golden. Manager Golden, do you have a wage study for other communities? Do we know what other communities make for the auditor position?
I'm sorry, Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we looked around here, even as when you think of the town of Chelmsford pays their auditor/treasurer $165 for being a third. So we did look at all of that. We even looked in our own, from the school department, and that number, I believe, was about $188,000. 184, my apologies. Plus 184,000 plus a travel allowance, which the auditor
That's
does not receive. No, that, I was just making a point of Chelmsford pays, I believe, is 160,000 for a community that's a third. In the school department, that salary is at 184,000 plus a travel stipend, which Ms. Oakes wouldn't get. Cambridge is 181, Worcester 183, Waltham 188.
My issue is that this wasn't included in our packet so that we could understand this. That's why you go in executive session and you try to come back and forth and understand what you're going to vote on.
I think
when you
any
put.
sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the council, any of the councils that asked for it, we did share it. I should have sent
Well, we
it.
shouldn't have to ask for it. If we have those numbers,
That's
it
great.
should be shared.
I'll send it to you next time. But I was charged to do this, so I figured there was
Well, what's
an
shared to
opportunity
one
for
should
me
be
to
shared to all
put
of
this
us,
together.
right?
Right.
So that's the issue. I don't see, I just got shared this from Councilor Dakota, and I don't see an issue with the wages. Because as you said, Cambridge auditor gets 181, Worcester gets 183, Somerville gets 178, and Waltham gets 188. I don't care about the school side because it's a total different funding source than the others. But I don't see an issue with giving these kinds of money out because she is a phenomenal worker. But again, these things should be done in executive session so we can understand what do other people pay. I just got this handed to me 1 minute ago from Councilor Dakota, which is sad that we're in the middle of trying to vote on something and everybody knows something except for select people. I thank you for your time.
Council Scott?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I did reach out and ask the wages, but before I got any response, I actually went on the budgets for Worcester, Springfield, Boston, all the different cities, and I looked at their budget. I know we all know how to do that, and I was able to do a comparison. We did put it under the purview of the manager. I trusted the manager, but I also wanted to trust but verify and do that homework myself. So I think this is a very fair wage for someone that does incredible work for us, and that's all. Thank you.
Council Dakota?
Really quick, Mr. Mayor, to City Solicitor, on the amended changes, that also does not include a merit raise for this year as well, correct? For 2025, right? July 25 to June 30th of 26, right? The COLA, plus there's a merit increase written in.
No COLA, as we discussed. The merit raise language is in here.
Right, so are we changing that to a no merit, or is that something we need to vote on?
That's up to the body.
That's in January.
That would be January.
Okay. So we're looking at no COLA, and that's the only change being made right now?
No retro.
No COLA and no
No retro.
retro. No retro payment. From now dating back to September of '24.
Okay.
Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Counselor Janess, Counselor Mercia,
Yes.
Counselor Nun,
Yes.
Counselor Robinson,
Yes.
Mayor Rourke,
Yes.
Counselor Scott,
Yes.
Counselor Yim,
Yes.
Counselor Belanja,
Yes.
Counselor Chow,
Yes.
Counselor Dakota,
Yes.
Counselor Getchia,
Yes.
Section 3, City Clerk, 3.1, minutes of the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee, April 15th. City Council regular meeting, April 15th, for acceptance. Motion placed on file by Council Mercia, second by Council Scott. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Returning to the City Council motions. 5.2, Council Getchia requests City Manager update the Council on facility staff being assigned to Lowell High School full-time. Seconded by Council Robinson. Council Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Manager Golden. This is just basically looking for an update. I know that you said you put funding aside to get this going, and we're just trying to figure out as this building project goes along, are we going to get people in that building who can understand what's going on down there, and we can have more eyes in the building, that's all, if we can get that update.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council, our intention is to bring this with the FY26 budget.
Do we know
The
how,
creation of these jobs.
do we know how many jobs we're creating or anything like that?
Actually, we're still looking at that. But the intention is to be brought forth in the next couple of weeks with the FY26.
Is there a focus on what type of positions we're looking for over there?
Actually, we've talked about this, Councilor. We're actually utilizing the job description. We're looking at the job description you and I discussed.
So we're looking at the one position and then maybe under, are they going
And
to
then two, possibly three others.
Thank you.
Council Blunt, no, all set. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.3, Councilors Robinson and Getchia request city manager have the proper department provide an update with the anticipated timeline on draft of construction employment ordinance. No second needed. Mr. Robinson.
Thanks. We're just trying to figure out where are we in this process, and do you have an anticipation of when we'll be able to see a draft? Thanks.
All set. Okay. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.4, Council Yem requests city manager have the appropriate department install a convex traffic mirror at the corner of Butterfield and Fletcher Streets to improve sight lines and reduce risk of accidents. Seconded by Council Mercier. Council Yem.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A resident who live on the street approached me and asked me to file this motion. Butterfield is a one-way street running east from Mount Vernon Street to Fletcher Street. As you see in this picture, I'm at the corner of Butterfield and Fletcher. The building on my left is a hole in the wall, block my view. I cannot see. Plus, if there's a car parked in front of that hole in the wall, I even have no visibility to see the traffic. So by having that traffic mirror will help me alleviate of any danger from crossing onto Fletcher Street. So I'm asking that manager take a look at that. Would be greatly appreciated, sir. Thank you so much.
Council Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry I haven't gone there, but someone called me and said that they would like one of those signs. I know that Elizabeth, you know those signs that show a figure of a person crossing the street? They wanted that put on the pole so that they could see people, to let people know that kids are crossing the street. I don't know.
Mr. Manager.
I want to make sure that I get this right, Ms. Altman. RFFB? Is that, okay. To light up the crosswalk. I think that's what we're talking about.
Well, it's
probably where
it's a neon sign with a person, a figure.
Flashes. Gotcha.
Like to let people know that people cross the street. Is there a crosswalk there? I'm told there wasn't, and I'm told there is. Is there, Councilor Yem? Is there a crosswalk from Butterfield across the street to the Fletcher Street?
There's not on that one, but there's a intersection. There's a lot of crosswalk, ma'am. There was Willie Street. If you come from Willie Street, go north, and then you hit Fletcher Street. There's one crosswalk, and there's further down. There are three crosswalk altogether in that.
There's
section.
not one on Butterfield at the corner of Fletcher and Butterfield.
Not at that one, but the one before that, there was Willie Street.
You want to grab a coffee and figure it out?
I know. They're telling me to have that sign there,
what the request is?
and there's no reason to have a sign there if there's no crosswalk there. So I don't know what they're talking about, but
I can have,
Mr. Manager, please.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. Ms. Altman knows exactly where this is, so we'll take a peek and see if we can actually get that
okay.
accomplished.
Thank you.
Yes.
All in favor say aye. Opposed,
I'm with you.
passes. 5.5, Council Dakota requests city manager update on the progress of a facilities department. Second by Council Belanger. Council Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To the city manager, I know we've brought this up a couple of months ago, actually, Councilor Gitchie and myself, and kind of want to know where we are in the process, where we're going with it. Your thoughts?
Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Councilors, this is something that we're working on, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, they'll be bringing forward. It's a two-step process, and I may be leaning a little bit on Mr. Williams in a moment, but the process of vote would have to take place here, and then the process would have to take place over in the school committee, and that'd be due to, I believe it was the Ed Reform Act of 1993. I just want to make sure the school department has control of that portion of it. I believe I might have cited the wrong law. However, it's a two-step process, so we're hoping within the next 2 weeks to have something here for the council to have an opportunity to vote on.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.6, Council Belanger. Request city manager provide update on Shed Park Pavilion repairs and upgrades.
Second.
Seconded by Council Noon. Council Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Over the past few days, I was up in the Shed Park Pavilion with park staff, and they were kind enough to point out the, quote, deficiencies at this really pavilion. Very utilized, permittable pavilion, I will add. It's in pretty rough shape. There's literally holes in the roofs. You can drive by Roger Street, and it looks attractive. It still looks pretty good. However, walk underneath it, and I know, Mr. Manager, some repairs in the bathroom, some upgrades were made. It looks good, by and large, but we still need, in dire need of some concrete repair, some roof repair. You can see right through it in 2-3 areas. So please give it to your best attention. Have your staff take a good look at this and see what we can include in capital money in FY26. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.7, Council Scott. Request city manager of the proper department come up with a plan to revitalize Central Street from Gorin to Elm Streets. Seconded by Council Noon. Council Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this corridor is an area that just has a lot of potential. I've had 2 businesses reach out to me complaining about the sidewalks. One of them so much to the point that they said their insurance company is talking about canceling them because of the sidewalk condition. And I think if we want small businesses to thrive there, we really have to look at making this a better area. Same with pedestrian walkability and pedestrian friendliness. There's a lot of children that walk to the Rogers School there. So if anything we can do, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 6, motion responses. Motion response A, Lowell Police Department current and annual receipts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief Hudon and Manager Golden for the report. So the report actually divided into City of Lowell General Fund and the Lowell Police General Fund. I understand what the City of Lowell use General Fund for and what the Police Department using the General Fund for, such as overtime, new vehicle, and additional enforcement, and so maybe traffic safety initiative. But I would, like to get a follow-up report on that, a little detail it up as to how much you spend on each of those, and also giving that the traffic and speeding enforcement also a breakdown in terms of how much is for speeding and how much for traffic enforcement, let's say a violation of traffic light and stop sign and stuff like that, as opposed to speeding. So a follow-up report of that and a breakdown on speeding and traffic enforcement. And with that report, maybe you can send it to the subcommittee on public safety for a further discussion on it. Thank you.
Motion response B, Andover Street. Councilors Belanger and Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the response. I see Traffic Engineer Liz Altman is here. Liz, if I could ask you to come up to the podium, please. Well, thank you for the report. It just seemed like in the fall, we were under some serious pressure from Mass DOT to come up with an option what we're going to do. And we did that. I mean, largely, those in the district and beyond wanted to remain concrete. But then I see construction timeline of 2026 here. So how are we doing with Mass DOT, and how are they with our decision there to remain concrete, if I may? Thank you, Ms.
If I may. The Mass DOT has been told of the city's decision to maintain the concrete, and they have wanted me to make clear that the cost of maintaining concrete is very expensive lately, and they want to make clear that they will only be able to patch panels in the most critical condition and seal the joints. There will be no funding for additional crossings, ADA ramps, sidewalks, things like that. It's only the concrete maintenance. So they just wanted us to be clear on that, and that's where we are. So they are looking at the panels that they will repair, and they'll get back to us.
How are they, are they, I guess, for lack of a better, are they a little disappointed? Were they leaning asphalt? As I hear throughout the Commonwealth they are, due to that, they like to see bike lanes more visible. I think the state is largely leaning towards that, so something tells me, Liz, that they were leaning that way as well.
I think that they thought that MassDOT stated that they would get a better product out of the entire road with the asphalt overlay. They thought the city would see a significant change to the layout of the road, but they were respectful of the city's decision to maintain the concrete.
Okay, so we are looking at 2026, is that correct?
That's the time frame that I understand right now. I don't know if that will bleed into 2027.
Okay, but the funding is secured, so...
The funding is on the tip. It is
okay.
So the funding is there. I just, depending on design and things like that.
Okay. Okay, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for the update. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Giovanni Byros, Assistant City Managers, Manager Golden and his team, and Liz for the report. This is as a result of the November 16, 2024 meeting. So I know that Liz has been very detailed in terms of explaining to the resident of Belvedere as to the difference between asphalt and concrete and what you get. And the Mass DOT said it, $4 million, that's it. If you do concrete, it's a 10%, and you may not get all those things that Liz just spoke of, sidewalk, ADA ramp, and so on. So they understood that, and they want concrete. I understand Mass DOT, respect us, our decision, and we respect the resident voice. That's what they wanted, concrete. They want no change to that. So in the future, of course, that area we need to also look at, going forward, looking at, new crosswalk and ADA ramp and sidewalk and whatnot, and that's going to be part of the plan as well. The other things that are troubling is that I know that they say 16 weeks they can give us a timeline. So maybe Liz can, continue update us and update in our website so that resident, it'll be Belvedere or elsewhere, know that this is when it's going to happen. So a 6-week project, so hopefully they get it done before the summer end. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did attend the meeting as well as all my colleagues, and that was a very interesting meeting, but I sat there and did an overview of what I thought was going on here, and it seemed to me that there were two different options here, a concrete roadway repair or an asphalt overlay, and it was my opinion that Mass DOT wanted the asphalt overlay. But when you study the room, and I studied that room, and I heard people talk, they overwhelmingly wanted concrete roadway. You're going to get less because that's a very, very expensive. But in my opinion, I don't probably even care, but I have to go with what the majority rules, and they wanted concrete. So if that's what they want, let them have it. Thank you.
Motion response C, West Meadow Road traffic calming. Council Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. It's good to see that a RRFB is going to be placed in that area in 2025, it looks like, if the funding's there. So thank you to the transportation engineer for the report.
Motion response D, Lord Overpass. Council Belanger.
That's not me, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, who did the Lord Overpass?
I think it might have been me.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is Ms. Holtman up there? Oh, there she is. All right. And once again, the blame is not on you at all. This was not your project from the beginning, so I want to preface my comments by saying that. I haven't gone to the Rotary in over 5 weeks. I'd rather take Stevens to Wilder to Broadway and coming through here, and I get here much faster. But I did listen to a podcast today from inside Lowell, and finally he made some sense on a few things, but that's another subject for another day. The bus lanes could possibly be made into, in the morning, maybe a 6 to 9, and in the afternoon, a 4 to 6, as an open lane for the traffic, so we can get rid of the backup that we're having that's going all the way to Hafner's Hafner's gas station at this point. Your thoughts on that, about opening? Because this doesn't look like this is going to be resolved anytime soon.
Right now, the primary beneficiary of the bus lanes are the emergency responders. They're able to get through that area quickly during rush hour. The LRTA does use the bus lanes inbound from Gallagher. They find that more efficient than the outbound lanes. In order to change it to a different type of traffic, I'd have to look at that because it would require some changes to the infrastructure at the intersection at the Gallagher station.
Okay. But at this point, it doesn't seem like anything's being resolved.
Right now, I continue to work with the LRTA, but their stance is that the 2 or 3 routes that actually travel through on Thorndike Street do use the lanes, but they travel so infrequently that you might not see them. It's like 1 or 2 an hour. So there are some buses that use the lane, but mostly it's, like I said, emergency services.
Yeah, I have made a call to LRTA, and they don't plan on changing any of their routes anytime soon as well. So I guess I'm throwing this on your lap and seeing how creative we can be about alleviating some of the traffic. That the backups are incredible, and the time to wait at the lights is just, I get a lot of phone calls, and for me to not even use it it's pretty sad.
And this is with adaptive signal controls, so it does put more green time on Thorndike Street during the peak hours to the, I don't say detriment, but there's longer delays on the side streets because they add so much traffic or so much green time to the Thorndike Street. It's just a lot of traffic in a small amount of space.
All right, thank you very much.
Council Yam and Council Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like the idea of Councilor Dakota. I thought of similar, if we can make it the lane being used during the rush hour, similar to the Southeast Expressway in Boston. A while back, they have this particular barrier to open up so the traffic goes south during the rush hour. But I also would like to go a bit further, because at the city we have various functions at the Sanger Center. You know, at the end of the concert, I noticed that we have police officers helping to alleviate some of the traffic. And my thought, can we use that bus lane on Thorndike Street for that type of event, you know, when people get out of the Sanger Center, and to alleviate the traffic and move faster toward the low connector. Thank you.
Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Liz. If I don't know if you can do it, but I know that funeral homes have their procession going through it. If you can make a provision where they're allowed to use that middle lane for funeral processions, I think that'd be great. They're using it anyway, and I think it's a good thing. They can change a light. We're having a discussion now. Is this a private conversation? Another one? What the heck? Is this a coffee clash? What's going on?
I mean, it seems like people are complaining about that. Don't ever use it. You know, I use it 2 or 3 times a day. It's not that bad. It really isn't. I mean, you know, you're there for one light cycle and you do move on. I come from Middlesex Street, go up and down Thorndike a lot. Fletcher stinks, no question about that. But other than that, it's, you know, it's not bad at all, but it's those that don't use it are complainers, as we heard it today, so. Motion response E, island maintenance at the Riley Sullivan School parking lot. Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the manager or to Mr. St. Cyr. Thank you for the report. It seems as though, I did speak to the Riley School principal, and he had said that he didn't call or anything, but we have basically residents who are complaining, not the principals of the schools. So reading this, it looks like you're willing to pave it?
Yeah, that's what we'll end up doing.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Motion response F, Parks Division quarterly flag inspections. Is that
Yeah, that's
Councilor
mine.
Scott?
Yep, thank you, and thank you for the response. I guess the only thing I would add is it says they're going to start doing a quarterly inspection. Just if it's happening to the park in general, there's a lot of debris from trees and everything that are down in the parks that have been there now for several months that haven't been removed. So I just want to make sure that we're doing a full inspection of everything. Thank you.
Councilor Young and Councilor Robinson.
Just a quick comment. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to let you know, Superintendent, that I noticed that our park staff put up a new flag at the park corner of Central and Wamerset. It's called Hosford Square, and I noticed that they raised a new flag because they were all worn out. I just want to let you know and commend them for doing that, you know, for their work. They take extra, like your report say, you know, take it out extra work out of their obligation to make sure the flag is being flown and properly and nice and all of that. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you for this report. And I know last week, I believe it was, you were in, when we were going over the parks, overall, what they're responsible for. You also mentioned in this that I know it is titled pretty much quarterly reports, but you did touch on last week, and again, it's here, how you're going to be implementing some kind of checklist, a daily checklist almost, so to say. So, well, it'd probably be weekly because you show up and usually do most of the locations once a week. So you should be able to keep a closer eye on like the broken benches, because I know there was just residents have been reaching out, and I've been kind of steering everybody that reaches out to utilize 311. And as you mentioned, you're finding it useful. So if we see like a park bench broken, that should be documented pretty much by whoever's routinely maintaining the park and then be able to be addressed.
Exactly right.
Is there a way through 311, maybe through you to the manager, is there a way through 311 that if a resident submits something that they already have in the queue or the pipeline, that we can notify the resident already, you know, in progress or something along those lines, so they understand, oh wow, the city's already on this before I even had to report it?
Manager.
Yes, I believe that's something we can do. Mr. Mayor, through to the council, that's something we can do, I
Yes,
believe,
indeed.
to make sure it's a work in progress and then completed.
Exactly.
So 2 steps, I
Yep.
believe.
We can take care of that.
Okay, excellent, thank you. And again, thank you for this report.
Dr. Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I thank you, Mr. St. Cyr, for the job you're doing babysitting. In 2025, I am shocked. We have to put this in writing on when you drive by something, you see something broke, you have to report it and write it on a sheet. I mean, I worked for the city for 10 years, and the Parks Department were extremely good at outlining things that were wrong and fixing it at the time they were there and moving through it. This is like insane to me. I wonder if you have directions on how to start a vehicle. It's insane to me. You go over, there's a park bench broke, you're responsible for an area. How don't you know that you got to fix the park bench? And now you have to create all this paper trail, or I'm sure you're not going to give them an iPad so they can go down that, because who knows? We'd probably have to send them to UMass Lowell for training. I mean, it's crazy to me that we sit here and have to write these things down when between 1989 and 1999, when I worked for the city of Lowell, this department functioned to a system that we didn't have to do this. And when you watch these things be written, I'm just perplexed on how this happens in a functioning environment with middle management, that you as a director of DPW have to come out and write these things down. Okay, take a left here. Hadley Park's right there. There's a flag. Look up. It's torn. Thank you for telling me so we can replace it. I mean, I'm just shocked that we're at this stage, but I do thank you for your patience, because I don't know that I have the patience you have to deal with employees that can just drive by things like that. That's why I wonder, when we drive through the city, why we have so many potholes, and residents even have to send an email in when we have police, fire, DPW. Everybody drives the roads. How hard is it to say, hey, there's a pothole here, can you fix it? It's teamwork. But I guess I'm missing something in 2025, but I thank you for your patience.
Councilor Scott?
Sorry, just one more question on that note. Did we end up hiring a deputy superintendent?
It's being negotiated right now.
Excellent, thank you.
Motion response G, outdoor market. Councilor Scott?
Oh, sorry, thank you. Thank you for the motion response, and thank you to Mosaic Lowell for working on this grant for this great innovative idea. I guess my only comment on it would be that, from what I heard listening to some residents, is that they really wanted to see something tied into downtown. So if there's some way we can somehow, cross that bridge, I guess, between making maybe some of the activities happening in between downtown and the Hamilton Canal, I think that would be great. The other question I have too is around the RFP. It says there's an RFP build out for the Hamilton Canal Innovation Garage space. Could you kind of expand a little bit more? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ms. Councilor. Yes, we have an RFP right now for which we actually just got the responses today. What that space looks like is that space right next to the office at the Hamilton Canal District on the ground floor. It's around maybe 9,000, maybe 10,000 square feet. And part of it is to retrofit the space, put some new flooring, some new ceiling, so that it can help us run this program that we want to run through between the summer and the winter as part of that market, farmers market that we'll have from July through December. And so we'll have a portion of it will be interior and another portion will be exterior right in front of the garage, that grassy area, that triangular grassy area in front of the garage.
Oh, sorry, the project
correct.
pop-up?
Correct.
Okay. Excellent, thank you.
Correct.
Councilor Yam?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I like the report a lot, and I recognize the picture, say, Public Market Center, and that's from the Pike Place Market in Seattle, Washington. That's a picture I recognize. The HCID garage on the first floor, I was thinking that can be a year-round indoor market similar to the Marché Jean Talon we went to in Canada. They have that market, and it's really a great one. And also West Side Market in Cleveland, Ohio. That's also an indoor market. And the city of Rochester, New York, they maintain. They have a public market that operating year-round by the city. And these are the ideas that I think we can also incorporate it, like what we try to do. In this report, one thing that did not mention and also was part of the Acre and Clemente Park, Pineland Park project was that when it's all said and done, this park then can turn into similar to Southeast Asian market in the park, FDR Park in Philadelphia. So that's the other option that the indoor, the outdoor market can be for the city of Lowell in the future when the Pineland Park is completed. So that's another venue for outdoor market. Thank you for the report, though.
How's it get you?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Through you to Manager Golden. On the Dummer Street parking, what do we do with the city employees if we do that market over there? Because in here, it looks like you're going to put a canopy over it, and then when they have the market, there's no parking, obviously, within there. Or is this something that's going to be done outside of City Hall's hours?
Thank you, Mr. Councilor. So that's just a rendering, just to clarify, it's just an idea. So it's not a project per se. I think what we're trying to explore is where could we make this happen in a seasonal fashion. Ideally, the way we thought about the Dormer Street lot is that it could be something that we could deploy on the weekends. And the rendering was just to prove the fact that we could have a permanent structure that can serve as a parking spot, a parking space, a parking facility Monday through Friday, and Saturdays and Sundays when it's not that heavily used, that it could become the market. But it's part of our exploration in the department of how could this happen, what do we mean by permanent? Is this January through December? Is this just the weekends? Is it Monday through Friday? And so this is just part of how we were thinking of ideas for making this happen. But we're not removing parking for the employees.
So see that I did read it. I just wanted you to know I did look at it.
Okay.
But no, because we rent out spots to other people, and it was just like, so how do we accomplish just like there's other people over there? That's all. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
6.2, information reports. We'll do the Recreation Department first. Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the council. Council, is it like an opportunity to, is Mr. Fatican?
Kids outside, right? In front of
Yep.
the Parks Recreation team. Ms. Altman, we'll take rec first, then we'll go to you.
That's fine.
Mr. Fatican.
Good evening. This is an informational presentation on the Recreation Department. I believe that there's a slideshow that's going to be put up. No? No, I wasn't given the slideshow. I was just given a paper copy.
There you go. Just let one of the kids do it. They'll be able to do it.
All right. So the Lowell Recreation Department is a year-round programming organization. Most of us are thought of as summer programs, but we actually run programs year-round, 7 days a week for most of the year. This informational packet has information for summer as well as winter information for kids in programs and staffing. So what we do is we run different programs through the year, and it's all free to participants. So everything we run is free. Whether it is our full day programs in the summer, our free lunch programs, free breakfast programs, we do different special activities that are built into our program. So that way the kids have all different types of activities. It's not just go to the park and play games. We have other nonprofits who come in and do things. We have the Bookmobile and a few other of those organizations. Before the summer starts, we do a staff training, so all of our staff come in for training, and depending on their program, depends on what they do for training. So we offer 3 lifeguard trainings a year. The past 5 or 6 years, we haven't been able to fill our lifeguarding core. This year, based on the class we're running this week, we actually will have enough kids to fill all of our lifeguarding spots for the first time in years. Lifeguards go through trainings as a lifeguard, assistant swim instructor, a full swim instructor, and then we also have adaptive swim training that we do with some of the nonprofits that we are partnering with. We have put in for a grant with the GLCF to get 2 different organizations, the Sunfish Method and also Swim Angelfish, to train our guards and to be better working with the adaptive swim programs. We also do our own CPR training, so we typically train. Last year, we had 68 kids that took our refresher course, which means that they come every year, and we make sure that before the summer starts, they remember how to do all their CPR, choking, first aid, and then we actually trained 28 kids in new certifications. Of all those kids we trained, 94 of the 96 kids who passed the class worked for us over the summer last year. That's one of the requirements for the kids who want to be supervisory positions for us, that they are CPR and first aid certified. We also do, for the kids who work with the autism program, we have the UMass Lowell who comes in and does training with us. They're including children with autism at summer camp training through the Applied Behavior Analysis and Autism Studies program at UMass Lowell. They've been offering that to us for probably the last 5 or 6 years. So all the kids that we've identified as working with one-on-ones or small groups for kids with autism will have that training. This year, we're also building in an anti-bullying and anti-harassment training. That's going to be conducted through the HR department at our staff training, and it's going to be based on DESE training that is already provided through the school system. One of the things the Recreation Department does is we issue park permits. In 2024, we issued 17,000 permits. In 2025, we issued 13,000 to this point so far, but we have a lot more permits that we've been issuing over the past few weeks. Compared to 2011, we only issued 8,800 permits. So our permitting for the parks has gone up significantly, and there's a few different reasons for that. One of them is being the new permitting system that better collects the information and the data that we issue permits on, and also more groups looking for more time to run their programs. Next is our summer programming. We run programs. We run 2 different age groups of programs. First is the 5 to 13-year-old programs. Those are at Shed, Gage, Daly, Wang, and those programs last year serviced anywhere from 82 to 412 kids at those programs. Some sites are much bigger than others, so we staff the sites according to the amount of registrations we get. We typically will put kids in the area they live in, so that way it's easier for them to commute to work, but we do have kids who are able to transport themselves across the city, so it gives them more options to find spots to work. Those programs vary by age group, but for the most part, all the sites do kickball, dodgeball, tennis, arts and crafts, and last year we had the Taekwondo vendor come in. In addition to that, we have the DPW do a touch a truck, we have the fire department bring the fire safety house, we have the Lowell Police Department bring the police dogs. Last year we had a snow cone truck come in and we did a snow cone day for the kids. So we try to build in different things for different ages. Our 3 and 4-year-old program, the library come and does story time with them as well. So we try to find something that every kid will like and try to build it into the program. Not every kid is athletic, so we have different arts and crafts activities. And it all depends on the age group. It depends on what each supervisor does with their group. The food service program is provided by the school department at most of our locations. We serve breakfast and lunch through Aramark at our day programs. So last year we served over 3,500 breakfasts and over 6,200 lunches at those programs. And the Merrimack Valley Food Bank provides lunches at sites we don't run programs at, so our staff will pick up the lunches from them and go to different sites. Every year the sites kind of change a little bit. Last year we were at the O'Donnell Park and McPherson Park, and then we have done other parks during the year. It depends on if there's construction projects going on. If we find that there's a site that's not being utilized that well, we'll move it to a different location. It's all based on what the Merrimack Valley Food Bank has for information on how the numbers look each year. In addition to the 5 to 13-year-old program, our summer program includes a 3 and 4-year-old program. We call it the Tiny Tots program. We run that at the Morey School. So last year we had 43 kids in the program. We have to have a lower ratio of kids per counselor because of the age group. It's usually the first time that kids in that age group are with someone who's a non-family member to watch them. So the attendance rate is probably closer to 65% for that age group as opposed to just over 70% for the older kids. And like I said, we have the library come and do story time there. They do a lot of arts and crafts. They do a lot of playground time. And then we have Jeannie Mack come and do a finger puppet and songs with them as well. So there are some pictures in here about some of the stuff they do. We have the bookmobile go to that site as well. When the bookmobile is on site, the families actually receive an email of how to sign up for a library card. So they can actually sign up for the library card, and then they can check books out from the bookmobile to be brought back every week. And they can do that throughout the course of the summer, or they can bring the books back to the library itself at the end of the summer. For hiring, we actually hire a significant amount of kids. Last year we hired 227 kids. Most of our kids are under the age of 18. We're one of the only employers that hire that many kids under the age of 18. And even under 16, we had over 70 kids working last year. That's one of the reasons why we try to put kids in the neighborhood they work. A lot of the kids we have either are too young to drive or don't own their own car. So making it easier for them to get to work makes it easier for them to be successful in the summer and have jobs. Most of the kids who work are working 30 to 35 hours a week. It's a significant amount of hours for the kids who work. They typically work from the Monday after the 4th of July for 6 weeks, so it is a long, full summer program. The trainings usually happen end of June or early July, depending on the program site and the location they're at. In the winter, we have 43 kids who work, which is not obviously as big as the summer, but it still makes us one of the largest employers in the area, especially for teens. This year, we did not have a Saturday program at the Bartlett School, so we had an older core of staff working because kids cannot work past 7 o'clock at night until they're over the age of 16. So our ages for the winter look a little bit older, but we did is we took the money for our Saturday program at the Bartlett, we turned it into Sunday swim lessons. So this winter, we ran swim lessons on Saturdays and Sundays, which we'll get to in a second, but it made it so that way we didn't have as many younger kids working in the winter, so our numbers in the winter look a little bit older as far as what we typically hire percentage-wise in the summer. Then coming to swim lessons, we do swim lessons year-round. In the summer, we do swim lessons at McPherson and South Common Parks. Last year, because of the South Common issues we had, the pool opened a little bit late, so our numbers are a little bit lower at South Common. But some of the kids who wanted South Common swim lessons actually moved over to McPherson, so they still got a full 6-week summer swim lessons. And then the kids who couldn't transport over, we actually had still a 4.5-week swim lesson season for those kids. Swim lessons are typically offered twice a week for 25 minutes, and it's usually before the time the pool opens to the public, so that way the only kids in the pool from 9 to 12 are the kids there for swim lessons and their families. And then once we open at 12, it's open to the public from 12 to 6. The McPherson Park has always been the larger of the two areas as far as swim lessons, but last year we definitely think that the construction issues we ran into was a big part of the reason why the numbers were so much lower. The winter swim lessons were huge this year. Like I said, we added a second day. The attendance rate in the winter is almost 90% every weekend. What we see is that come end of March, beginning of April, when the weather starts to get nice, we see fewer kids show up, but for the most part during the winter, most of our kids are there every day. We were at Saturdays at the Greater Lowell Tech from 10 to 2 and Sundays from 9 to 1. We had over 300 kids per session, or 300 swimmers per session, because we have adult lessons as well. So we had 31 adults in session 1, 21 in session 2, and 18 in session 3. In addition to that, we also have private lessons that we run year-round. In the winter, our private lessons had 14 kids in session 1, 16 in session 2, and 20 in session 3, so they increased. What we do for the private lessons, if a child needs a private for reasons of either physical disability or autism or some other cognitive reason, then we talk to the parents about what they need for the child to be successful. Not every kid ends up in a true private one-on-one swim lesson. Some of them end up in small group lessons like a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1. We look at what the parents need for their child to be successful, and we try to gear the lesson towards them. We're seeing an increase in kids who are looking for private and small group lessons because of cognitive learning issues or physical disabilities, which is why we're trying to secure funding for the GLCF to do more training for these kids, for our staff to get trained. The problem we run into is because we have such a young staff, it doesn't translate every year to the same kids coming back. So if we do a training this year, we'll probably need to try to reach out and do another training 2 years from then. But we've been very receptive with our staff. In the past, we had trouble finding kids who wanted to work with the adaptive swim program because people were worried about what that was going to mean and what kind of difficulties they're going to run into while teaching. Our staff this past year has been very receptive to the idea. They've done a great job. They actually keep asking for more training so that way they can become better at it. They want to work with more and more kids. So our staff has done a great job working with that population, and it's been very beneficial to our programming, I think. We do a bunch of special programming as well. So we do programming for adult. We do bar. Well, when the instructor's free, we do bar, we do adult swim lessons, we do Zumba, we do salsa and swing and dance classes, we do yoga. We start right up in September with our yoga at Zumba at Boarding House Park. We do it for about 6 or 8 weeks, September into early October. Once the weather starts to change and it starts to get cold at 9 in the morning on a Sunday morning, people don't want to come out for adult fitness lessons outside anymore. So then we translate it to an inside program at the Pine School. In addition to that, we do ballroom, salsa, and swing lessons at Stepping Out Dance. We've worked with them for about 15 years, and the parents, the adults who do it love the program. We keep getting asked to do more and more lessons like that. The tough part we run into is the instructor we hire has his own lessons as well, so he makes more money doing his own lessons, so we try to get as much of a partnership from him as we can without really hampering too much of his business. The yoga program in the winter also runs from October through about April for the adults. That's done at the Pine School. They've been great to work with as far as accessing the building and having the gym available. So we do volleyball in the gym, and we do in the CAF, we do the yoga program. So we're using the multiple areas in the same school so that we don't take up too many schools, and other organizations can use the schools as well. And then our Zumba program that goes outdoor in the fall goes indoor, but on Zoom in the winter. We're looking to pull that back into the school this coming year because part of the fitness program aspect is the social aspect of it. So the parents, well, the adults are looking to have it as an in-person class going forward. So we are looking at making that change. In addition to the adult programming that we do, we also have a basketball program we did this year at the Bartlett School on Mondays and Thursdays. So kids between 14 and 18 can come to the school for free. We open the gym up. We have staff there to make sure that there's nobody wandering the schools, there's nobody in the building who shouldn't be there, and the kids play pickup basketball. We moved it from the Stocklosa School this year. We weren't sure if the numbers would subsist, if we'd still have enough kids for that, but the program actually worked really well over there. In addition to that, we also do a special needs basketball program with kids in disability sports on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So a lot of our staff who do our summer programming will work with the kids in disability sports program throughout the fall, winter, and spring on some of the partnership programs we have with them. We do a volleyball clinic in the winter on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Pine School. It's split up into 3 sessions so the kids can come in, and some kids have never played volleyball before, but they have an interest. Some kids have played all the time and are in tons of leagues, so we have a wide disparity of skills sometimes, but we have seen a consistent attendance for that program of about 25 kids a week. This year, so the ages were 10 to 16 years of age. Usually around Thanksgiving, we have a Letters to Santa program, so that way kids can get registered to receive a letter from Santa, and we'll actually send a letter to the house. We'll go through and put the name of the child who's receiving the letter on the envelope and on the letter, so that way it's personalized for them. Last year, we had about 213 kids who received letters from us. Wow. In addition to that, we have a bunch of special programs that we run. So we're going to be involved in the bike safety rodeo every year. It's run with the LPD, and they set up a bike safety course so kids can learn about bike safety, how to properly fit a helmet, how high the seat should be so they can properly reach the pedals, how to navigate the course, when to stop, when to look. The Lowell Police Department runs that. We assist with the program. They actually raffled off bikes and helmets in the previous years. It's been held at the Target lot and also the Stocklosa School lot. Where is it going to be this year? And this year it's going to be at Bolero. So that's going to be coming up in early May. During February vacation week, we do free tickets to the movies twice during the week to AMC Theater. This year we saw Paddington in Peru. So we buy 100 tickets to each showing that we give away to the public for free. The movie changes every year, so it's a little bit tough for us sometimes because we don't always know what movie it's going to be until it gets closer to the program after registration starts. But every year we sell out, and the kids seem to enjoy the movies. Also that week, we do the Toys for Local Children donates prizes to us, and we do bingo with your grandparent. We partner with the Senior Center. We go over there on the Tuesday of school vacation week. We're there for about 3 hours to do the bingo. In addition to bingo, they get pizza and drinks. We have all kinds of prizes. Most kids who come take home 2 to 3 prizes each. All the prizes are donated from Toys for Local Children, so it doesn't cost the city really any money because of the partnership we have with them. And that's for kids ages 3 to 12 and along with their families, and then members from the Senior Center are also there to help out and to join in with the kids. On Wednesday and Thursday of that week, we do Princess for a Day. What that is the girls come in their favorite dress, princess dress. They get their nails painted, they wrap their hairs in braids, they do light makeup on the kids, and after that, they do a cupcake decorating and tea party, and they play games and have that kind of activity as well. That has been a huge hit. We have about 25 kids each day. The thing we run into with that is just getting all the supplies, because we have to have individual makeup kits for each child, individual applicators for each child. So it can get a little bit difficult, but it's, I mean, seeing the kids do it, it's great to see them involved in the program. That's for ages 3 to 11, and we do that at the Riley School cafeteria. Also, during February vacation week, we do a lifeguard training course. This past year, we certified 6 kids. We believe we're going to end up hiring all 6 of those kids. The current class we have this week for April vacation, we have 9 kids in the class. We're hoping to hire at least 7 of them to round out the end of our rosters of filling them. Our class for lifeguard training is free for kids who work for us. And if they don't work for us and choose to work somewhere else, it's a reduced cost compared to what it is at other places. We would charge $150, where other places charge $400 or $500 for the same class. The reason we do this is to get lower income applicants able to take the class. What we saw in the past is we didn't have a wide disparity of kids taking, working as lifeguards for us. So we wanted to try to open up our ranks and get more kids in to better represent the population in Lowell. Sometimes we have kids who can't swim, to be honest with you, so we can't take them in for the class. For instance, this past week, we had 3 kids fail the swim test. But the kids who are able to pass the swim test typically pass the class. And right now, it's looking like, knock on wood, all 9 of the kids in the class right now will pass the class if they pass the test on Friday. And that's the Recreation Department.
You sure?
Jeez.
That's all we do.
Thank you for that very detailed and extremely comprehensive report, Mr. Fetterkitty. Councilor Mercer, if you go for your coffee with Councilors Yem and Dakota,
Yeah.
you're a double espresso, okay?
I know. Oh, my.
Councilor Mercer, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Peter, great presentation. Oh, to be a kid again. Oh, I'd love to do that at the Riley School and get the nails done and all this stuff and wear my princess dress. That'd be so cute. But thank you very much for the presentation. That was wonderful. There's a lot to do, and I want to know, how do the parents know about all this?
So we
Is it on the website?
Yep, so we actually have 10,000 members on our website. It represents about 4,000 families in the city. In addition to that, we have a Facebook page we put information up on. We send out email blasts whenever there's a new program coming to the website. So we try to bundle it, so instead of sending out 8 emails in the span of a month, we'll have 8 new programs show up on the same day, and we'll announce it to all the families. In addition to that, we send information out to schools. We have some schools that put a lot of information out on their Facebook pages and through their announcements. And then from being at other programs that we give out flyers. Then we actually go to some neighborhood groups as well. So Centerville Neighborhood Action Group has us in at least twice a year to talk about jobs and programs coming up, how to register, how to create sites. We go to resource fairs. We actually bring our laptops to the resource fair. So if a family wants to create an account and they don't know how to, we can actually sit down with them with the laptop, help them create an account and register at the resource
Boy,
fair.
I'm exhausted. There's a lot to do.
Yep.
There's a lot to like about Lowell, isn't there? This is wonderful. Thank you so
We're
much.
actually going to be meeting with the ICC in a few weeks, so that way some of the families who live there can get their kids into the programs as well. They're gonna bus
Beautiful,
them to the
beautiful. Thank you. A busy kid, an idle kid is the handmaid of the devil, so I'm glad that you're keeping them occupied and out of trouble. That's
Hopefully.
beautiful. Thank you.
Councilor Chow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I echo Councilor Mercier's comment. Exciting time to be kids. Thank you for the presentation. There's a lot of stuff going on in the city, and you and your staff must have a lot of energy to keep up with all the kids. So, bless your hearts for doing that. I would maybe say one comment. Maybe also instead of have predecessors for a day, maybe have Mayor Rook for a day from one of your kids to see how they pay up with the mayor up there. So, but no, thank you for all you do. It's very exciting. It's wonderful to have the kids so engaged and involved with all the programs going on in the city. Not just for adults. Often, the counselor and the administration do a lot of activities for the adults, for the family as a whole. But for you just to focus on the young kids, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you to you and your staff. I love to see how it wasn't too long ago, I know you were talking about trying to offer some kind of special swim lessons to those families that might have a child in need, and here you are, you're doing it. It seems like whatever your team puts their mind to, you pull it off. Have you thought of maybe seeing if maybe partnering with the library and plastering maybe a schedule of events offered on the bookmobile? Because I know that's mobile, and I know that kind of is, especially now the nice weather's here, it's starting to go around the city in a lot more different events. So I mean, that might be another thing. Since you already work with them, maybe it's just something to advertise on. But thank you very much for all you do.
Councilor Young.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the report and all that you do for our kids in the city. One program that I did not see you mention is the Lowell Student Police Academy that was instituted and run by the Lowell Police Department for the 5th to 8th grade during the summer vacation. I had an honor to attend the graduation of this past August summer of the Lowell Student Police Academy. They were very well trained, almost like a military style kind of thing, and they providing the academy provided leadership training, endurance, and responsibility. And my comment to the youngster who graduated that, using their knowledge, to influence your peers in your neighborhood, to become a future leader of our city. So I just want to give a plug to the Lowell Police Department for the Lowell Student Police Academy that run by Officer Santiago and Officer Mendy Dowell, who were excellent in training this youngster. And again, thank you for all you do for our kids.
Councilor Gitcha.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Peter, Caitlin, I get to see you guys do this day in and day out, and I can't say that we have a better staff in the city than you guys and the people who help you. You're there for the youth, and you work hard through it, and just the interactions you have with them is a special bond that they'll remember the rest of their lives. They'll talk about how they did this or that because of you guys. But you also have 3 other people here with you that I don't know if they just would come to the mic and introduce themselves and tell us, something on what they like about the recreation department and why they volunteer or work for you. I think that it's important to have others speak besides your long-winded speech.
Yeah, and I say it all the time that it's these guys that make the program work. No matter what we put together for a plan, it only works if they are able to change what happens. I mean, once you go out there the first day, the plan goes out the window half the time.
I think she's starting to sweat because she's going to come up.
Oh, yeah, she's going to pass out probably.
She's starting to sweat because we asked. So what was your first job at the rec, and why did you come back?
I started at Shed Park as a staff member when I was 15. I just loved the environment. I loved working with the children. I loved all the opportunities that Lowell Rec gave me. And now that I've been working for them for about 7 years now, it's been just incredible, honestly life-changing. I'm able to put a lot of different things into perspective. You meet a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds, and through programs like Kids and Disability Sports, I've been able to learn more skills and expand my knowledge on different groups.
Next up. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
My name is Evelyn, and I'm a traveling manager. I've been working for Rec since 2017, and I think my favorite thing right now is probably the adaptive swim that we've been doing. I got into that this year. I really love it. We've done a lot with it. It's a good program.
It's a great facility.
Yeah.
My name's Jack. I'm also a traveling manager. This is also my 7th year. I don't know, it's just great seeing the kids grow up. I mean, you see them start as young, and then all of a sudden it's like they're the same age as you. And the lifelong friendships I've made, it's just amazing.
Another 3 years, you're going to be eligible for health insurance. But no, seriously, Mr. Mayor, we owe a big thanks to former City Councilor Marty Laurie, who pushed to grow the Recreation Department during the summertime. That was a big push back then, and I think when you look at the longevity that some people are here and you see the amount of time and the efforts that get put back into our community, you guys deserve a lot of thanks for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just
one last thing I want to mention, because I just finished finalizing this today, so I could bring it here. Every year I work on the Healthy Summer brochure that I reach out to various organizations throughout the city of Lowell to find out what their summer programming is, so that way we can put it into a brochure that's, you know, all together. So it's 8 pages. We are going to be posting it on our website. I already shared it to all the partners that have worked with me on it, so that way they can share it with their networks. I'll be sending it to Lowell Public Schools. I'll be reaching out to some of the private schools as well. So just to keep an eye out for this. There's a lot of different groups that are involved in it. Also on the last page of the brochure, Joe Donovan and MIS helped me put together, well, he did it for me, but I sent him the list of, you know, different activities and food that's going to be throughout Lowell, and he put together a map for the last page that shows right here where people can find, you know, free lunches or free breakfasts if they need it, and where they can find different activities throughout the summer. So big thank you to Joe and MIS.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I think that what we're going to do through the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee is make a presentation with you so that it's on LTC, so that people are aware of your program coming up, and if there's partners that want to be involved with you as well. So I'll keep you in contact when that's going to happen, okay? Okay, thank you so much.
Returning to the Transportation Information Report, Ms. Altman.
Sure. Thank you for having me here today. I wanted to just share with you some of the Transportation Department's goals and initiatives for 2025. Again, I always continue to advocate for all modes of transportation, not only vehicles, but everybody who can walk and roll. The one to talk about each of these things that are going on. So that's just an overview. So the first thing I want to talk about is the progression of the traffic calming program. We implemented 6 speed humps with engineering in the repaving program in fall of 2024. And those have been a huge success. I've heard nothing but really good feedback. I was hoping to show you our website launch, but for some reason this computer is not connecting to the internet, and I'm disappointed. But very sad. But what the website shows, it's on lowellma.gov, and the traffic calming program is a dashboard that shows every street in the city and whether it's eligible for speed humps or not. So a resident can go on there, they can zoom into their street, and they can see whether it's green, which means it's eligible, or if it's gray, it is ineligible, and if it's gray and ineligible, they can see exactly why it is. The other page under that traffic calming program shows a dashboard of all the traffic calming requests that have been received, and if we were able to see it, you'd see that Starbird from last week is on there already. So we are recording things. People can see who has made requests and what the requests are for. We have a bid package hopefully coming out next week for 32 speed humps, permanent to be installed in the summer of 2025. The list of those streets are in your packet. They're throughout the city, trying to touch a lot of the different neighborhoods. And we're continuing to partner with other departments to ensure consistency. So if the sewer separation is coming through with wastewater, or engineering is doing road reconstruction, we are able to say, oh, that street has requested traffic calming, and we're able to implement it with those programs. We have future traffic calming opportunities that we're looking at in Centralville. You can see the locations in Centralville that are getting traffic calming as the sewer separation project is going through. Lower Highlands sewer separation project, engineering reconstruction, phase 2 Next summer, we'll hopefully target another 30 speed hump installations, and we will be putting out the temporary speed humps again. The traffic department, transportation department is also doing 24 miles of center line striping per year for 3 years in the epoxy. I hope you notice the difference between the two materials. If you want a very clear example, East Merrimack, there was a small section that the big truck couldn't get in front of the barber shop that's right by the Catholic school. You can see the paint is very, very faded, and the epoxy looks great on either side. Hopefully we'll be able to post no parking there and get that little bit. We're doing about 200 crosswalks per year for 3 years. Those are on the streets that have center lines, so the major streets, so the epoxy will last longer. Year 2 of 3 will occur this spring. So how do we identify areas of improvement? NEMCOG finished their Vision Zero action plan, so we look at their high injury intersections and the prioritization scores. We have a Safe Streets for All grant that we are starting. We are in our most dense neighborhoods of the Back Central, the Acre, and Lower Highlands. We were at Kamai New Year, but this past Saturday, speaking to people about some of their most concerned areas. We're going to the CHOP dinner this Wednesday and to the Back Central neighborhood meeting in May to speak to people directly about their neighborhoods and how we can improve their feelings of safety in these as walkers and bicyclists. We also look at high crash locations, the impact crash portal, the Complete Streets prioritization plan, and Lowell Forward, the mobility section, was also, both efforts were high in community outreach and feedback on areas needing updates for pedestrian and vehicular and bicycle safety. Major construction projects in 2025 include Westford and Stedman Street, which is going strong. It looks great. And we have 4 signals and 2 rectangular rapid flashing beacons that are out. We're under contract, so should be getting going in the next few weeks. The 4 signals are basically left turn focused, and then the 2 beacons are one's new and one is an upgrade of a failing one out on Boylston Street. So that is using rideshare funding. Projects in design right now are the Go Lowell City Hall bus stop. We hope to have a bid package out later this summer for construction next year. This will include a 2-way bicycle lane from City Hall to Cabot Street without losing any parking on street. So it'll go behind the parking with an effort and a vision to connect University Crossing to City Hall for students without having to use a bicycle or having to use a vehicle, and make a safe way for them to get to downtown. We're also in coordination with engineering, revising the signal at Andover Street and High Street, which if you've been through there lately, it needs it. So projects in our planning pipeline, Branch Street at Middlesex Street. This is the concept plan. This plan will be slightly adjusted in the next 6 months to provide more parking along the park frontage. So we're looking into how we can make Middlesex Street one-way and improve the parking for this important park. We are also in the process of finalizing the design for Appleton Gorham Central Street, the triangle downtown. That intersection is one of the highest crash locations in the city, in NEMCOG, and in the eastern part of Massachusetts. So hopefully that we'll be able to get grant funding to construct that. The last thing that we are taking part in is MassDOT's Vulnerable Road User Initiative. They are looking at 11 of our traffic signals, 11 bus stops, 6 always stops, and 4 beacons. So this is an excellent program that MassDOT is doing that enables us to use state funding to no cost to the city to update these locations. So that's my presentation. There's a lot of lists in the packet that I gave to you showing all the locations that we're touching in the next year or two. So if you have any questions, please let me know, but otherwise, I'll let you get on.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Councils, I apologize, I stepped out for a moment. I just have to say, I'm so impressed with Ms. Altman and everything she's been doing here in the city of Lowell. It is something that I feel the need to say, because her professionalism, her dedication. I mean, she has taught somebody that I believe we should just put a stop sign everywhere to not do things like that. But the traffic calming, the speed humps. I mean, if you really want to think about this, you know, this council was very dedicated to ensure that the safety of residents increased. And we started that with the 25-mile-an-hour piece. And to this council, hats off. Liz was the first one saying this is going to work. And to further the traffic calming, I think this has gone well beyond what we thought. This is the informationals that we've been discussing over the past year and a half to 2 years to try to bring, you know, Liz is here all the time, Ms. Altman is here all the time, but in the fact of all the stuff that she is doing, it is here. And I just thought it was an opportunity to say thank you, Ms. Altman, for all the hard work that you're doing. And this is absolutely a fabulous, fabulous report. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you to the councilors for giving these ideas, and she's really the person that's implementing them. Thank you.
Council Noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess every council here second your compliment of Ms. Osmond. She's awesome. I know that she had very detailed report here. We did file a motion not too long ago, last week, I guess I did, and I know Councilor Robinson, the same thing with regard to speed hump. Given that the city has, devoted million to park and recreation space, throughout the city in all the 8 districts. I'm sure I'm asking you to take into account, because the criteria for, putting speed hump is as follow. You give a list of them, and I think choose that with the park improvement, whether that be Clemente Park or Shed Park or any other park, you will increase the pedestrian foot traffic. And given that that's the case, then you probably we urge you that to also look at, speed hump in that areas as well. So to address safety, as the manager indicated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo Manager Golden of the commitment of Ms. Allman. This Saturday, we celebrated Khmer New Year at Byland Park, and Ms. Allman and her team were there talking to people, explaining, and she and I had an opportunity to talk a little bit about Middlesex Street direction that she talked about, maybe making it to a one-way street so that will create more parking along the park side of it. I also like to thank you for your work, and it's really important. I'm happy that you continue to stay here, and this is why we need to pay our staff appropriately compared to other cities. Otherwise, the good staff will then move on to other cities and town. I would like to invite you, maybe with Councillor Mercier and I, walking Fletcher Street, where I mentioned earlier the Butterfield and Willie Street and Cross Street, and then Varney Street all the way to Bower Street, and you list Bower Street as a high crash, and because the road changed, and I advocate to finally have the word stop painted on it and stuff like that. So there are 4 or 5 crossing, and I like to maybe have a chance to walk and show you how do we can minimize that and make it more safe for the student who cross the street to go to Merkland School in the morning and come back in the afternoon to the acre. So again, I commend you for your hard work and thank you so much for what you do.
Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Thank you again for all your hard work, Ms. Altman. I think even seeing you over the weekend, you're out promoting, so I think that's amazing to watch how dedicated of an employee you are. When you look at the Mass VRU initiative, do you know when they award that?
So it's an ongoing initiative. I've been working with them for the past year, identifying the locations, and then their designers. I have seen the bus stop improvements. As you can see, there's an example there. It's a slow process because it's MassDOT, but we have been working with them I've been working with them for probably over a year, identifying locations and working with them when they come to the city to look at things. I think they're probably implementation looking at next year by the time they finish design and things like that.
And one more question about the pavement markings. It says spring. Do you know when the contractor will be in to do some of the crosswalks in the long lines, and particularly around the schools? I think that right now, with the season that's here right now and spring is upon us, the crosswalks at the schools are extremely important.
So I hope to be starting them in May. I know the police department is starting some of their crosswalk painting. They're focusing around the schools on the side streets. We're focusing on the major roads to make sure which are higher traveled. But the police department, I know, is starting to focus around the schools pretty soon.
If you could just add maybe some priority to the one Middlesex Street at Hadley Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's very dark over there at nighttime because of the car wash refuses to turn on their lights. And the kids cross over from that skate park to go across the street, and also at Baldwin over there. That area is very tough to see when it gets dark because there's just no lighting because the car wash, since it's been new ownership, it hasn't really kept it up. But
Okay.
Thank you.
A motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Robinson, second by Councilor Yam. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 6.3, communication, resignation of members from various boards, commissions. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Chow. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Votes from the city manager, section 7. 7.1, vote to accept proposal of George Scaff, 93 Mammoth Road. Waive the full reading and second reading by title. Motion to adopt by Councilor Getchia, second by Councilor Yam. Comments?
Do we know what happened to the first bidder? Because it says the first bidder didn't come through.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the first bidder walked out of the deal. I think there were some other conversations in some other properties that the city owned that he decided to just rescind the designation.
Do we keep the deposit? Because you go through an RFP and everything, and there's a deposit that's held, and do we
Can't
keep?
remember. I can't remember if we did.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Typically, in a real estate transaction, there's probably some, I can't tell you, but I'm sure we probably didn't on that first particular piece.
Was it more money than what we actually got now, or was it less money?
No, this price was based on the latest appraisal of the property.
So what was the first bid? Was it more than this amount, or was it less?
The very first proposal probably was less because if we updated the appraisal, it's probably higher. So,
Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilor Janess, Councilor Mercia,
Yes.
Councilor Nunn,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Scott.
Yes.
Councilor Yem.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
Councilor Chow.
Yes.
Councilor Dakota.
Yes.
Councilor Getchia.
Yes.
7.2, a vote to approve ORR permit for Captain John's with a full reading and screening by title. Motion to adopt by Councilor Scott, second by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Mercia.
Mr. Mayor, through you to the city manager, is this vote necessary for every business that wants outdoor seating, or is this because it's a new owner?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, for every new application, we are requiring the vote. We are working with the legal department on whether we need a vote for repeat applicants. They do need to apply because we do need to see the documentation and the updated insurance, but not for returning applicants. We don't need the vote.
Okay, so this is,
So this is a
the
new
owner.
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Solicitor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so there are not going to have to be follow-up votes. Someone who has already been there, who already have his license, that they're just going to be renewing. We don't have to come back in front of the council and take that vote.
That's fine.
Roll call?
Counselor Janess? Counselor Mercia?
Yes.
Counselor Noon?
Yes.
Counselor Robinson?
Yes.
Mayor Rourke?
Yes.
Counselor Scott? Counselor
Yes.
Yem?
Yes.
Counselor Belanger?
Yes.
Counselor Chow?
Yes.
Counselor Dakota?
Yes.
Counselor Getchia?
Yes.
Sold.
8, Report Subcommittee. 8.1, Parks and Recreation Subcommittee, April 15, 2025. Chairwoman Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Parks and Recreation Subcommittee met last Tuesday at 5:30. Present were our subcommittee members, Councilor Belanger and Councilor Getchia. Also present were Councilor Noon, Councilor Paul Rathayem, Councilor John Dakota, and Councilor Scott, as well as our city solicitor, Corey Williams, Peter Faticanti, Program Director and Planner of Recreation, Heather Larkin, Board of Parks Secretary, and Keith Rudy, member of the Board of Parks, as well as Gil Vigent, an avid renter of the fields. The purpose of this third meeting was to get the City Council's view on two particular issues, being tournament fees and liability insurance. Thus, our request to have our solicitor present. The committee recognized Board of Parks member Kiki Rudy, who referred to number 1 of 4 items marked for discussion. Issue number 1 was the ordinance and handbook policy that stated the tournament fees will be determined by the Board of Parks on a case-by-case basis. Therefore, there were no set rates included. Most communities charge more, but out of 6 or 7 other communities, the city of Worcester was the most similar to what Lowell was looking for. A definition of tournament similar to what Worcester uses will be adopted, as well as the liability insurance definition. I requested for the policy handbook that the Board of Parks see if they agree that whomever's name pulls the permit is the same person's name on the liability insurance. We put a stop previously to subletting fields, which sometimes seems like it's happening again. We also discussed the concession stand at McPherson's in Centerville. It has a separate bathroom next to it, and people that have the field cannot use the bathrooms because it is locked, so parents and kids cannot use it during the games. Was the bathroom in the concession stand given back to the city, or does one person feel that they own it? So we're going to talk, we have the solicitor looking into that. We also discussed that there are individuals that tie up a massive amount of fields on weekends from May to August, and no one can use these particular fields. They are run by people who live out of the city. There should be limits on monopolizing fields. We want the average mom and pop from Lowell to be able to get a fair chance. The Board of Parks has the discretion to put a cap on the use so no one takes advantage of the situation or is able to sublease the fields. We also discussed that no vehicles should be on any of the fields at any time. We offered and heard suggestions that can only strengthen and tighten our regulations. We also talked about those who rent a field and don't clean up after themselves. They should not be allowed to rent the field again. We did not adjourn the subcommittee meeting. We recessed and asked Keith Rudy to take the discussion and suggestions we had back to the Board of Parks and strengthen the policy and procedures of the handbook with these two items that we've discussed. Bring these changes back to us, the subcommittee, and we will schedule another Parks and Recreation subcommittee meeting and refer the changes to the solicitor, Corey Williams, so through his leadership and expertise, he can create an ordinance, and we will schedule a public hearing for everyone to weigh in on. We recessed at 6:28. Thank you. Feel free to add on if you want to. If my colleagues have any additions, I didn't think so.
Mr. Mayor, can I please make a motion to waive the executive session and just, sure.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Opening day this weekend for the Lowell Youth Baseball and Softball will be Saturday, the 26th at Shed Park. Please arrive by 2 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Exhibit opening. The Khmer exhibit opening is scheduled for April 23rd. Start at 4:30 at Lowell Community Health Center on the 5th floor. That is April 23rd. Yes, tomorrow Khmer exhibit opening at Lowell Community Health Center. And then April 24th, Middlesex Community College, they host a New Year celebration started from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Middlesex Community College Common Center, the lower cafeteria. A lot of food, a lot of drink, no beer, it's just a regular drink. Dancing and whatnot, so everyone's invited. Thank you.
Councilor Yam, anybody's birthday? All right. Motion to adjourn by Councilor Mercer, second by Councilor Noon. Good evening.
No beer, no drink.